Welcome everybody to today's call. And I'd like to start by sending my love, felt, hopefully condolences to all the people who have been sending prayer requests. Interestingly, some people sending prayer requests knowing that their loved one was going to die. So they weren't sending, prayer requests in some sort of fearful desperation of trying to save the being's life so much as wanting the soul of the being to leave the body in a very peaceful, light-filled and calm way. So for all the people, and there were lots in the last few days, specifically from the United States of America, my condolences for your physical loss, and my prayers will be sent out to each and every one of you for your loss and your family's loss in a special meditation that I do for that type of an environmental request. So may all their souls find the light that created them. May they find the peace of our prayers, and may they envelop themselves in the peace of the prayers that I and others send, whilst keeping them protected from the shock that can happen from their loved ones. So somebody also asked in one of the questions today about sending out, or could we spend a certain amount of time sending out prayers specifically for our frontliners and so on and so forth. And I'm kind of hoping that this whole call is a prayer going out to them. And, I'm sure they know the consciousness of the people who really appreciate them. I always have said and always will say it's just a pity that it takes something like this for people to show their appreciation. I would have loved to have seen that appreciation shown to them at an earlier point, the same way as when my wife, or Gavin and Orla's mother, passed when it was her time to go. But the circumstances were very strange, and strange in that there were so many misdiagnoses from doctors who one wouldn't go against the other, that a lot of people who have been coming to my workshops for years know, as I shared this story with them about, we didn't get angry and threaten to sue the hospital after it was plainly obvious that it was malpractice, for want of better words, because our belief was, why would we want to burden a system that was already burdened? So what we asked for was a meeting with the doctors in which Gavin, Orla and myself attended. And at that meeting, we expressed the fact that we realised that they were overworked, that they were tired, their shifts were too long, the pressure on them at that time, and that was like 11 years ago now, was huge. So, they were so shocked that we were saying to them, how can we prevent this again, and not be angry and wanting to rip them apart, that it really had a huge effect on them, so much so that one of them even reached out afterwards and said it had a huge effect on him as a doctor and his practice going forward. So we're all given an opportunity to do what we can as individuals and collectively. And, I do hope that these calls collectively are there for anybody who is in need, or is in need of just a different way of thinking, specifically at a time when you're in shock or angry or whatever it was. And, I just shared with you an extremely honest story. So I wouldn't ask anybody to do what I hadn't done myself and my family hadn't done. So during these shocking times, it's really in our duty to sit with what we can actually do at this time during these events, and then what can be done later on, which of course is what I'm going to be talking about. So the last few calls that I have done with you, those calls were very much in a technical type of frame, i.e., they were full of psychotherapeutic techniques. They were scientifically backed up techniques. They were educational techniques, if you like. They were stuff that could be checked out by anybody to see that they had come from a background of somebody who had been trained in the psychological therapies. And then I gently moved them from there into a more slightly softer, meditating, spiritual type of base as we sort of slowly go in. And again, the reason for that is because I realise, and if people don't want to hear this, you have a hang-up button on your phone, please be empowered to use it. But I believe that truly humanity is being called to awaken to the spirituality of who we are, to what's going on in the world and what the message of this is. So today, I plan on not giving you so much technical information, but sharing stories with you, my own journeys that awoke me to certain new ways of thinking, and specifically, as I say, to what I now believe is my highest gift and my highest calling, which is the application of spiritual teachings that come from all traditions, by the way, and even non-traditions, all religions and non-religions. But I have tested, I have tried and tested these, and they have worked. And I'm telling you now, I feel really, really bad for people who have no belief right now, because they must be in turmoil if they have nowhere like this to come, this type of conversation to take place, this comfort and calm that comes, as I say, from teachings that have been here for millennia and will continue to be powerfully loving and truthful, no matter what people say. I know the New Age movement did a lot of damage to good spiritual teaching, and because of that, sometimes good teachers get hard times because they're talking about stuff that sounds a bit woo-woo, but actually it's not a bit woo-woo at all. It's stronger than anything, and specifically when you have to do it for yourself, because again, I'm going to tell you that this is time to do this for ourselves. We cannot keep moaning and groaning at governments as to why didn't you do this and why haven't you done that and why aren't you and who and where and when and why, because all of that is doing now is wasting your energy, dropping your immune system, dropping your frequency, which is going to be very important. Your frequency is going to be very, very important now and in the future. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes based on some emailed inquiries and stuff that's been going on. So, as I say, I think the most important part of our duty now, if we can, if we're in a position to do so, is for us who have been called to this call of camp, who have been called to various teachings and various teachers, to hold peace as best we can. Even if our loved one, our husband, our wife, our children, our aunties, our uncles don't believe any of this crap, it's okay. You are not there to change their belief. I've already explained this to you. You are not capable of changing a single thought in my head. But yet I can change my whole world for myself with a single thought. So don't be wasting your energy trying to drag people to drink the pure water when they're happy enough drinking the polluted water. I'm sorry to tell you this truth, but many, many people just are in that mode. I hope and I pray that their frequency changes, and I believe the best way to help them change their frequency is to become the walking meditation you are, the walking example of love and peace. Let all your actions, let all your words, your thoughts, your words and your deeds, your actions, let them all be in alignment as much as you can at this time. And then people will spot you. Then people will say, what is that? That's what I'm looking for. Why is this person, not panicking? Why are they not angry? Why are they not buying into the fear? How come they can acknowledge what's going on and yet not be so affected as I am because you don't understand me? I'm losing my living. I'm in debt. My credit card is run up. I'm in debt. Well, there's two types of debt, DEBT and DEATH. And I can tell you, the DEBT, if you worry about it, so much is going to bring you to the other one. Because the teaching said, if you cannot change a single thing with worry, why worry? Wait for the now. Wait for it to come. Don't worry, don't preempt, don't manifest it. Wait for it to come. Yes, I'm not some sort of, switched off head case delusional person who doesn't realize that many people are going to go into an economic downturn. Of course they are. But I want to explain something to you about that. I want you to understand what that I believe it's really all about our desires, about the message that's coming through now. It's about all of this. It's about pulling together all of these teachings that the great teachers of the world have set and tried to teachers. Those who had eyes to see could see it. Those with ears could hear it. So, let me talk about something that seems to be causing its own set of fear. So much so, it's nearly just below the coronavirus fear. It's the fear of this new wave of technology that everybody is calling 5G. And the first question that came in was actually about that, which was very interesting. And I'll read the question and I'll answer the question. What is your take on the sudden 5G towers being erected worldwide? And what is your take on it being associated with RFID chips? I don't know what that is. Through mandatory vaccines. And what would they be chipping us for? I am not one to normally buy into these kinds of projections. However, this one chills me to the bone. So grateful for all your services and that Very nice. Thanks, Harmony, for that. So, here's what I believe. Again, this is a sharing. It's not telling you. It's a sharing. You can do with this information what you like. The matter of fact, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't believe a word I say. Go and check it out for yourself. Because when I'm asked about these things, that's what I do. I check it out. I go, I try to do it on the level of technical, scientific, and spiritual. And my spiritual sense normally overrides all the other stuff. So what's my take on 5G? My take is this. Looking at the evidence that is there now, looking at what's been going on, looking at what's happened in a short 8 or 10 years to our world in relation to mobile phones, wireless, etc., and so on and so forth, I think there is enough evidence there to say we need to slow down. We need to really investigate what these things are or are not doing. It's no good putting up a load of scientists in front of me going, oh, these are not harming us at all, no, they don't cause cancer, no, they're not carcinogenic, no, they're not this. And then I find out, well, that's great, except that these scientists are paid by the people who own the phone. I'm sorry. To me, that is not a neutral voice, and I'm not interested in lobbying of any type or any course, because that's how people get disempowered. That's what I've said it even about gurus, teachers, or whatever. You don't disempower yourself to these people. You go for the teaching, and the teaching will set you free, not the teacher. So like this, when I hear, these people talk, I background check them. Let's see what I can find out about them. And then you find out, as I said, hey, look at their wages being paid by, this firm. Okay, whatever you said, I'm going to put that over there. I'm not going to fully disconnect from it. I'm going to put it over there and see if there's a higher truth I can find. Okay? And then, I start to look at things. One of the things I do very regularly, and I would suggest you do it as well, I think I spoke about this on one of my other calls, is stop bypassing your gut feeling. This person says it chills her to the bone. Well, if something chilled me to the bone, I'd investigate extremely quickly. So when I first heard about this 5G, I immediately reframed it, by the way. Because when you reframe something, you cut the energy that it can feed off. So I called it the 5 God. The 5 elements that make up everything. So I called it the 5 God. So let God's light towers be put up. So that's how I reframe it. What that does is it gives me a base point for my meditation. I then go into meditation. Now, let me explain a little story that happened. This happened when we first bought Creek and Lodge Wellness Centre in New Ross in Ireland. We being Linda, my wife, myself, and the family. And we were sitting out one very sunny summer's day, and we were sitting out on the decking, just talking, having a cup of tea, chatting away. And at that stage, we were aware that there was stories starting to come out about bees and honeybees disappearing and, all sorts of stuff going on. And this was also around the same time when, these waves were being put through our system. And all of a sudden, the sky above our heads went black. And there was people come back this story up because they were there as well. And we looked up, and here above our heads was a swarm of honeybees. The swarm hit the side of the tree and very quickly disappeared. When we looked, we found that there was a hole in the tree. The bees had entered, and they have been in that tree ever since. We look at them on a regular basis. And so I always took these signs as messages, something, well, why did we set up Creek? And we wanted it to be a place of healing, of peace, of higher consciousness, of unification with the environment, with the land, that we don't use insecticides to kill things, and we use nature in its balance and all of these lovely things, so it becomes this beautiful space to sit in. And so I went, they've come for protection. Well, let us protect them. Meaning we would not take any of their honey. We would allow them to keep all the energy that they created for themselves. And so from there, it began to happen more and more and more. So as I would be meditating in, I started to realize that all these signals now going through the air, these electromagnetic signals, were actually beginning to show up as an issue for humanity. Those issues where you had whales and dolphins beaching themselves, you had all sorts of nature being disturbed in many ways. We had all of this stuff going on, and we couldn't see the killer, of course, because you can't really see these waves. You can hear them, you can measure them, but you can't see them. And when you can't see something is when it's most dangerous. And so I started to meditate into it, and people would give me pieces of information. And I began to find that, say, for instance, in California, it has become one of the biggest growers of almonds. And, what they did was they literally have so much of a calling now for almond milk because of veganism and other stuff that's beginning to expand, that you needed bees to pollinate the trees. So what you had is you had beekeepers being paid money to bring their hives into these groves of almond trees. And what would happen is that some of the bees would get disease, and they would then get mixed up with another beekeeper's hive and contaminate that hive, which then flew and contaminated another, to the point that I heard and checked out that people began to steal hives because the honeybees were dying at such a rate. Now, here's the thing. What was that all about? It didn't answer what was the cause of the bees getting ill in the first place. So when I meditated into it, I think I understood that it was that humanity, in its ignorance of trying to speed everything up, has created an imbalance in the electromagnetic frequency of the planet, and that climate change, which is a natural cycle, by the way, there's a natural cycle that happens in the climate that we need to address instead of always screaming and shouting about stuff. First, we have to know what the natural cycle is, and then we'll come to a realization, hopefully, that there is a natural cycle. But what we as humans, what we're doing is not natural. We have speeded everything up, and that's what I believe the real climate change issue is. So if we believe this, if that resonates with you, if that gets into your gut, well, then we need to begin to slow things down. We can do that by starting to slow down our action and our mind. So we become the frequency changers. That's why learning these teachings, these meditations, these prayers are vitally important about the frequencies that are coming. Do we really need to speed things up? Like, so 5G is going to, like, what? According to the advertising for it, you can download movies 100 times faster. You can download games for gamers 100 times faster. Really? Really? That's it. That's why we took birth. We took birth so that we could download movies faster and that we could do everything faster, eat faster, move faster, die faster, get ill faster. Is that it? Is that the message? Well, I'm not into that. I'm not buying into that. I'm going to stay as quiet as I can, because you know what? If you start to listen to these fear-mongers and these news feeds and everything that's beginning to develop and happen around this coronavirus, I can see people literally just sitting there waiting for this to be all over so we can get back to normal. Normal. Making money, not caring about our community and family. So, yeah, you know what? We've just licked the ice cream again when we're being given an opportunity to have more of the ice cream. Do we really need things speeded up? I don't think so. I don't think so. So much so, I'd like to point you to some evidence, good, scientific, well-researched, backed-up evidence of a man called Jeremy Johnson. So if you have that, technology in your home now that's causing these waves, at least start using it for a positive outcome, not just downloading movies and playing games. So Jeremy Johnson, TEDx Berkeley. Have a listen to what that man has to say about this subject, because he knows far more about it than I do from a technical basis. But what my body tells me is we need to slow things down. If the sales pitch for 5G is for us to make more money, I think we're very quickly going to tumble into a very dark hole that we're now being given an opportunity to climb out of. And I would love you to comment on that. Okay? Because that's what I think is going on. People who need the data can go to Jeremy and listen to it there. People who want to help with the tipping point that I believe we're being given an opportunity to do need to spread this message. It is in our hands, pardon the pun. It is in our hands. The coronavirus is in our hands. Peace and love and healing is in our hands. The very hands of our frontliners, the hands that help. So It's in our hands. It's not in their hands. But our hands, I believe, can slip into their hands. We can protect those people with our thoughts, with our prayers, with us not buying in to the drama to create karma. So now is our chance to do the tipping point. Now is our chance to understand that there are people who get it. There are people who truly just want to serve humanity at this time, who want to help with whatever skill set they have, whatever wisdom they have, whatever learning they have. I don't ever pretend to know it all, nor do I ever want to know it all. I think the mystery of life is so powerful because it's a mystery. It gives us something to keep going towards. If we knew, if we cracked the mystery, the game would be over. And I don't want this game to be over. I don't want humanity to end this game, because this is a beautiful planet we live on. This is a beautiful coloured marble that we live on. It's a very fragile mother. We made our mother sick. Now we have the medicine. We, everybody listening to this call, we have the medicine to make our mother better. Yes, we're going to be challenged. Yes, it's going to be hard to see our loved ones travel into the light. But please understand, this is what I believe. Please lean into this, meditate into this, pray into this. I believe that if God wants you, God will call you when it is your time, and only when it is your time. If God doesn't want you, nothing you can do can get you to that other side. So actually, if your loved one is called, know that their mission, I don't know what that mission was. I don't pretend to know what that mission was. I don't pretend to know how this all works. I know I offend people sometimes when I talk like this, but you know what? You can't offend me back, because I've gone through this. I have lost members of my family. I have lost a 16-year-old niece who went to a birthday party one evening, was dancing full of life, full of joy, full of potential, full of possibility, dancing on the floor. She slipped, hit her head, didn't look that bad, whatever it was. She went to bed that evening and she never returned. So I know the heartache of that. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to say things like, oh, they're too young. But what the teachings taught me is there is no young or old. There just is a soul. And when a soul's journey is finished, it returns to the energy. And it gives me and gave me so much peace to get over the trauma of the loss. I'm not saying I didn't feel it. Of course I felt it. It took me 2 years from Linda's passing for me to stop reaching for 2 cups in the press to make tea. But that was muscle memory. That was memory. And I was able to distinguish the difference between that muscle memory and the reality of what was going on. So, now is the time to pull all your resources into yourself. resonate your heart with the most beautiful self-acceptance, self-forgiveness. Now is the time, if you've ever done any harm to anybody in the past, now is the time to ask for forgiveness only when you've given yourself forgiveness for carrying out the deed. So bring all that energy into your heart. Self-love, self-accept. And when you've done this, whatever resonation of love and beauty arises from that exercise, in order to gain the merit of that exercise, send it out to the world. Don't try to keep it for yourself. It is greed that created this virus, I believe. And only love can uncreate it. True love, true acceptance, and true forgiveness. None of us are perfect. But doesn't mean we can't be perfect in this moment. Take a moment now. Just now. I'm going to just remain quiet for 30 seconds. Take a moment just to go into your heart and say, I love me. Good for you. See? Start there. It's okay. You know, the past, it's gone. The now is important. The future that you will create will only come from your thoughts now. It's the cause and effect chain. So as you reap or karma. What you think now will manifest your next experience. Write that down somewhere. What you think now will manifest your next experience. So if you want that experience to be softer with yourself. If you want it to be more loving, be more loving to yourself. Okay? The next question here is, thank you for helping us remember all the tools we have been given and to realign into unity with Mother Earth, so we can better forgive ourselves and show respect back to nature in our own backyards. Would it benefit the planet if we started the purification 5 elements meditation with our breath focus? Okay. Some of these questions are what I would call higher teaching questions. Okay? This call is for people who may not have been exposed even to spirituality in any sort of deep form before. I know there's also very enlightened beings on the call. Thank you. So some of these questions I think I'd be better answering on our advanced calls that we have. So I will finish seeing that I started reading this. But the 5 elements meditation is of course the meditation I taught you in our workshops, right? Now, again, thinking about the 5G earlier, the 5G is made up of the 5 elements, right? So each of those elements, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, and the ethers, can be utilized to neutralize the negative effect of 5G. So maybe you could do the 5-element meditation as a service to humanity, not just yourself. Because we were using it for our self-lighting up process, remember? About how we spark and reawaken the consciousness and light that is within us. And so that you could begin to do. So I would suggest, as I say, that we keep the lights, questions like that for the advanced class. I'm sorry if anybody takes offense to that. But I've often said, It's no good going into a kindergarten and trying to explain algebra. We might need to learn, adding and subtracting first. But if you think that you would like to hear what's going on those other calls, please sign up and have a listen to the stuff we talk about on that level, because that is the level of consciousness and well-being. So the next question is, hi Derek, thank you so much for this call. Blessing, community connection, express calmness, regularly in a way this time. My question is around how to help the men of the world at this time. Is there a particular way you might suggest that we can help more men or boys to step fully into balancing with the feminine energy, that is the yin and the yang? Okay, good question. So again, I believe it's about by leading by example, leading by examples. For all the years that I did psychotherapy, many a time I had young females, young males, old females, old males come in and declare their sexuality was confusing, or they were attracted to this, that and the other, and I would bring them through a process where I would say to them, hey, every being has a male and female energy. As somebody who spent 35 years in the martial arts, training in some of the Bushido techniques, which is where it's a collection of all the different styles. I learned about samurais and how samurais, or what samurais would train themselves to be, is to be able to switch on the male energy and the female energy anytime they wish, and how to sit at the bindi point between the two energies when they be in meditation, so that no energy could sneak up on them whilst they were in deep meditation. So it was like a little trick wire. What's going on in the world right now is on the 30th of last month, the vortex opened, the planetary alignment opened above the world that began to bring the divine feminine back into the world. And so your question is quite apt. I believe what this is going to do is it's going to do a bit of an energetic and frequency correction on people, specifically at this time when we now have a list of, different consciousnesses, different ideas, different thoughts, whether it's like, there was a time it was heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. Now we have, binaries, we have twin spirits, we have all, non-gender. We have all sorts of new consciousnesses in a state of flux. And I believe, again, our prayers can help calm a person down who might be struggling with this. Whether they believe in a God or not God is not important. You can explain it to them in an energetic way, and you can bring them to a point where they themselves come to the idea that they might want to change. You can't change a single thought in their head, but if you can sit and hold a non-judgmental energy, you will find that their energy will latch onto your energy. They too will sit in that space, and they will come up out of that space with a new idea, a new thought, or a new belief that will either strengthen the belief they already have or dismantle it and give them a new belief. How wonderful is that? Isn't that quite simple? So what can we do best? And I'm going to wrap this call up because the energy is beginning to drop nicely. Okay, I don't work off a clock. I work off an energetic feeling. Sometimes I run overtime, but it's beginning to gently come out. So I end with this very, I believe, powerful message. We're not here to change the world. We're here to change ourselves. The world is not out of alignment. We are out of alignment. If you truly want to create a more loving, natural, sustaining world, stop your judgment as best as you can. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. Stop your judgment, contain all your energy in your heart, keep radiating it out when it is full of love. If it's not full of love, please keep it to yourself. When it's full of judgment, when it's trying to break down, confuse people, lie about people or whatever, keep that to yourself. Nobody wants that. But if it's full of love, the world awaits. So the more quiet you can be, the more quiet you can sit, the more help you will have given this world than you might ever realize in this lifetime. So, be still and know that I am God. You are God. We are God. Consciousness is God. Be the spark from the fire, not separate from the fire, made of the exact same elements. And at some stage, you will be called, like many of our brothers and sisters are, they will be called back to the big fire to realize that they never were separate, that was an illusion of our mind. And when we get back there, like lots of our family members have gone back, and my take on it is a lot of them have gone back because I believe they were contracted to go back to help humanity, not slip back into the hole that we've just been given an opportunity to come out of. Have a great Thursday. I don't think there is a call next Monday because I think I have the advance call on Sunday. But we'll have another call then next Thursday. Thank you for taking your time to be here today. I believe the more we can do this live together like this, the brighter the wattage, the light and the bulb of everything we've spoken about becomes. May everything we spoke about today, we shared today, we loved today, go out into the world in any way that any being in need can grasp hold of. Let this be our prayer, and thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, and hold your loved ones in your heart, whether they're staying or going. Thank you. Bye-bye.